The Nameless Antarctic Station. Part 1, The Voice Beneath the Ice. There's a kind of silence in Antarctica that doesn't exist anywhere else on Earth. It isn't peaceful. It isn't still. It's the kind of silence that listens back. My name is Eli Tran. I'm an electrical systems engineer, worked on power grids and frozen hellholes since I was 23. I've spent most of my adult life in places no sane person ever wants to be. But this. What we found down there, under the ice. I don't even know if I should be telling this. But I need to. Someone needs to know. It started with a signal. A strange, repeating transmission, picked up by a climate monitoring satellite. A pulse. Quiet, almost like a heartbeat. Every 36 minutes. The coordinates pointed to the middle of nowhere, deep in the Antarctic interior. Nothing there. No base. No outpost. Just ice. Old ice. Thousands of years deep. And yet, the signal kept coming. Not natural. Not random. Someone, or something, was sending it. There were 6 of us sent in. Me. Hannah, the glaciologist. Quiet, razor sharp. Dr. Selvig, the biologist. He looked like he hadn't slept in years. Grant, our team lead, ex-military, always watching the shadows. Keller, survival expert. Calm. Steady. Never said more than necessary. And Mason, our pilot. Loud, sarcastic, probably the only one who still believed we were on a normal job. We flew out in April. The air was already thinning. The snow barely let us land. We hiked 2 kilometers through blizzard-white nothing. No sky. No horizon. Just wind. And then. We found it. A steel hatch. Half buried in ice. No flag. No markings. Just metal and cold. I scraped the panel, ran a scan. The light blinked green. Power. There was still power running in that place. And when I touched the panel, the door opened. No noise. No rust. Like it had been waiting. Inside was warm. Not comfortable warm, unnatural warm. Like stepping into something that was still alive. The air tasted clean. Filters were working. Lights dimmed and flickered, but they were steady. There was no dust. No damage. But no people. The place was fully operational. And completely empty. Selvig was the first to speak. This wasn't abandoned, he said. It was sealed. I spent the next 2 days mapping the internal systems. Some of the tech was advanced, too advanced. I couldn't trace the manufacturer. Couldn't even read half the interface. But there was a server node still running, quiet, tucked away. It had one message. An audio file, recorded hours before we arrived. I played it. The voice was broken. Hoarse. Like it had been screaming for days. And what it said. Help me. I'm Dr. Daniel Rhodes. They trapped me down here. They thought it would stay buried. But it's waking up. You have to leave. Don't open the door. Don't listen to it. The others heard it too. No one spoke for a long time. Grant asked where it was coming from. I traced the signal. There was a sublevel. Not shown on the blueprints. Hidden behind encrypted doors. We found the entrance at the end of a locked corridor. A black door. No handle. Only a small terminal. And words scorched into the metal above it. Non tanher vosum sub glaci. Do not touch the voice beneath the ice. Mason laughed nervously. Creepy-ass poetry. Selvig didn't laugh. He just backed away. Slowly. Like he recognized something. Grant didn't wait. He keyed the bypass. The door unlocked. And that's when everything began to unravel. The cold that hit us wasn't just temperature. It moved. Like a presence. A pressure in your chest. A wrongness in your blood. Something drifted out from the dark. A vapor. No, a mist. Thin. Black. Almost liquid. It crept across the floor like it was looking for something. Keller stepped forward, knife in hand. The mist touched him. Just a brush. And he screamed. His skin grayed instantly. Cracked. Blistered. It looked like he was rotting alive. We pulled him back, slammed the door. The mist had already retreated. Like it had tasted enough. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of the cold. Not because of what happened to Keller. But because I kept hearing a voice. Not in my ears. In my mind. Soft. Sad. Eli, why'd you leave me? It was my sister's voice. She died 5 years ago. Part 2, The Hollow Memory. I didn't tell anyone about the voice. Not right away. We'd already lost Keller. He was alive, but just barely. His skin, it looked like it was decaying. And something was happening to his eyes. They were going pale, like cataracts. But worse. He didn't speak. Just stared. Breathing, but vacant. Like part of him got left behind when that thing touched him. Hannah did what she could. Monitored his vitals. Stabilized him. But when I looked at her, really looked, I could see it in her face. She was scared. Not of Keller. But of what might come next. We sealed the lower door. Grant ordered a lockdown. We weren't supposed to be here, he said. We'd complete our analysis, submit the coordinates, and exfil in 3 days. But no one believed that anymore. The station had other plans. That night, I couldn't sleep again. The wind outside had stopped, completely. And in that quiet, I heard her again. Eli, do you remember the lake? I froze. That wasn't just some hallucination. That was specific. My sister had drowned in Lake Monroe when we were kids. I was 12. She was 10. I'd promised her I wouldn't let go. But I did. And now, deep in this frozen hell, her voice was calling me back to that moment. I got up. I needed air. Space. Something. Instead, I found Dr. Selvig, down in the comms room. Alone. Staring at a blank screen. He didn't look surprised to see me. Just, tired. I know what you're hearing, he said quietly. I didn't respond. I heard her too. My wife. Died 10 years ago. Cancer. She used to hum a song before bed. Brahms. I haven't heard it since. He trailed off. Then. It's not her, Eli. Whatever it is down there, it uses them. Our memories. Our guilt. Our grief. It opens the door from the inside. That last sentence chilled me. It opens the door from the inside. What the hell did that mean? The next morning, Mason was gone. His bunk was empty. His coat, boots, flashlight, all gone. But the exterior hatch was still sealed. No footprints in the snow. We found him an hour later. In the generator chamber. Sitting cross-legged on the floor, like he was meditating. His eyes were wide open. Staring. But he wasn't breathing. And on the wall behind him, scrawled in what looked like oil, or blood, was one word. Listen. That was when I started hearing others. Voices that weren't mine. Weren't hers. Whispers in the ventilation shafts. Cries echoing through the halls. Sometimes laughter, dry, cracked, and hollow. Sometimes my own voice. Speaking things I'd never said. On the second night, Hannah snapped. She was reviewing thermal scans, images from the lower level. The sealed area. In one of them, she saw a figure. Standing just beyond the door. Not moving. Not registering body heat. Just, there. She ran. Screamed. Through the monitor across the room. When we tried to calm her, she kept repeating. It smiled at me. It was smiling. That same night, I found Keller standing in the hallway. He wasn't supposed to be able to stand. His skin still cracked and gray. Eyes almost entirely white. But he moved like nothing was wrong. He looked right at me. And said. Eli, it forgives you. All it wants is to remember. Then he collapsed. I've seen war zones. Electrical fires. Freezing blackouts where people died in their beds. But nothing, has ever made me question my own mind like this place. Something ancient lives here. Something buried. And we didn't just find it. We woke it up. Part 3, The Memory Room. I stopped sleeping. There wasn't a point anymore. Time didn't move the way it should inside that station. It bent. Slowed. Looped. I'd check my watch, hours would pass between blinks. Sometimes the lights would flicker and I'd find myself in another hallway, unsure how I got there. Sometimes I'd hear footsteps right behind me. Sometimes I'd feel breathing on my neck. But I was alone. We tried to send a message out. Grant and I rigged the uplink, used Mason's old emergency frequency, bounced it off a weather satellite. It should have worked. But the transmission didn't go out. It came in. Looping. Not static. Not interference. A whisper. You're already inside. We disconnected the system. Grant didn't say anything for a long time. Then he looked at me and said. What if we were never supposed to leave? I didn't answer. Because I was starting to think the same thing. I went down to the sublevel again. Alone this time. I needed to understand. Selvig tried to stop me. He grabbed my arm, almost desperate. You think it's a room, he said. You think it has walls. Doors. Boundaries. But it doesn't. It's memory. It feeds on what you carry. What you hide. Then he let me go. The lower corridor felt different now. Like the station had turned its attention inward. The black door was still sealed, but something was moving on the other side. Scraping. Tapping. Like fingers brushing metal. I opened the panel. I didn't key it in. It opened on its own. And behind it. Darkness. Absolute. I stepped inside. And what I saw. It wasn't a room. It was a place made of memory. Walls that pulsed like breath. Lights flickering with the rhythm of my heartbeat. Objects suspended in the dark, photos, toys, scraps of fabric. Each one familiar. Each one tied to a piece of me I had buried long ago. And in the center. A chair. Old. Wooden. Burned. And sitting in it. My sister. She looked exactly the same. Wet hair. Blue lips. Eyes wide with that last terrible second before she went under. Her voice, when she spoke. It didn't come from her mouth. It came from everywhere. Why didn't you pull me up, Eli? I dropped to my knees. I tried to answer. Tried to breathe. You promised, she said. But you let go. I felt the cold creep up my chest, inside me. Like I was back in that water, gasping, reaching. And then. Another voice. Not hers. Not mine. Something behind her. A second figure, emerging from the dark. No face. No shape. Just the impression of one. And it spoke with all the voices I'd ever loved, and lost. You are made of your forgetting. Let us help you remember. I ran. I don't remember how I made it out. I don't even remember my feet touching the ground. Only the sound of my own breath. And the cold behind me. Following. When I got back upstairs, Selvig was gone. His journal was left open. The last line underlined again and again. The station is not a place. It is a mirror. That night, the station changed. Corridors where doors used to be. Rooms that hadn't existed before. And in every reflection, in glass, in metal, in the black of the windows, something watched us. Not from the outside. From inside ourselves. Part 4, What Was Buried. I don't know how long we've been here now. 3 days. 5. More. The clocks have stopped meaning anything. And the sun, if it still exists, hasn't touched this place since we arrived. Outside the windows, it's nothing but black. Not night. Not storm. Just black. Like we're under something. Or inside something. Grant doesn't speak anymore. He sits by the supply room, knife always in his lap. Eyes fixed on the hallway, like he's waiting for something to come for him. Maybe it already did. Hannah won't leave the lab. She's been running blood work on everyone, mine, Keller's, even Selvig's old samples. And she says the cells are changing. Not like an infection. Like we're being rewritten. I should have left the second that door opened. But the truth is, I didn't want to. There's something here. Something under the fear. A pull. A promise. The voice came again last night. Clearer this time. It wasn't her voice anymore. It wasn't anyone I knew. It was, old. Heavy. Like it was made of stone and wind and sorrow. And it said, "This is where you come to remember." Then it showed me. I saw flashes. Images. Not from my life. From someone else's. A team, scientists, in old snow gear. 1960s maybe. Drilling down into a glacier core. They found something. A structure. Metal, but not ours. Not built. Grown. And inside it. A room of mirrors. Not made of glass. Made of consciousness. The logs were fragmented, but the last line burned into my mind. It doesn't want to harm us. It wants to know us. Whatever was found, it wasn't alien in the way we imagine. It wasn't a creature. Not a monster. It was memory. A sentient presence born from accumulated grief. All the sorrow buried in the ice. Every death, every silence, every forgotten thing. It fed on it. Lived in it. And now, it's hungry again. Mason didn't kill himself. Selvig didn't vanish. They were taken. Absorbed into this network of echo. A place where time folds in on itself. Where guilt becomes architecture. Where you are the door that opens it. And Keller. His body was just the beginning. His mind had already been peeled away long before we noticed. Grant finally snapped this morning. Said he was going to blow the server core. Take the station offline. Said it was the only way to stop it from spreading. Hannah tried to stop him. He pulled the knife. There was blood. Screaming. Then a gunshot. Now Grant's body lies in the corner. And Hannah is gone. I'm alone now. The station speaks to me constantly. Not in words anymore. In memories. Not all mine. I feel the grief of strangers. Lost children. Dead men. Daughters never found. Entire lifetimes of pain pressing in like cold against bone. It doesn't want to hurt us. It wants to make us whole. By giving us back everything we ever lost. Even the things we never wanted to remember. I understand now what Selvig meant. The station is a mirror. But not just for the mind. For the soul. Tomorrow, I go back down. To the memory room. I don't know if I'll return. But if anyone finds this recording. If it ever makes it back to the world. Just remember this. It doesn't come for the weak. It comes for the wounded. And it waits in silence. Because that's where we're loudest. Part 5, Descent. The silence feels heavier now. It isn't absence. It's presence. I hear it in the walls. In the hum of the air vents. In the stillness between heartbeats. I'm no longer sure where the station ends, and I begin. Maybe there was never a line at all. The door to the memory room opened before I touched it. This time, I didn't hesitate. I stepped in. And I fell. Not through space. Through myself. I fell past my childhood bedroom, lit by moonlight and the sound of my father's shouting. I fell through my first tour, screams, smoke, the weight of a dying friend in my arms. I fell into my sister's eyes. 10 years old. Mouth open. Drowning. I couldn't look away. The station spoke to me, not with words, not even with images now. It showed me emotion. Raw. Undiluted. 1,000 lives worth. Loss. Love. Regret. Like it had swallowed the memories of the dead. And I was walking through their souls. At the center, I found the machine. Not mechanical. Biological. Breathing. A mass of bone-like tendrils and reflective surfaces that shifted with thought. A structure built from remembrance. Each part of it pulsed with a voice. Eli. Let us carry it for you. You've carried too much. I dropped to my knees. Not out of pain. Out of understanding. I knew now what the station was. It wasn't built. It grew. A psychic organism, part memory, part intelligence, buried under centuries of ice and human sorrow. Drawn to us the way moss grows toward light. It found our expedition. Not by accident. But because it was hungry for reminders. And I was full of them. I saw the others again, Selvig, Hannah, Mason. Even Keller. They weren't dead. They weren't alive, either. They were part of it. Their faces appeared in the shifting walls. They looked at me. Not with fear. With peace. The station didn't kill them. It absorbed them. Took their burdens. Their worst days. Their pain. And in return. Gave them release. That's when I understood. It's not a monster. It's a monument. Built not from stone, but from every forgotten tear. Every scream no one heard. Every regret never spoken aloud. It's us. The part we bury. The part that never dies. I walked toward the heart. It pulsed once. And then. It showed me her. My sister. Smiling. Not wet. Not drowning. Just, there. Frozen at the edge of time. She took my hand. And whispered. You don't have to carry me anymore. And for the first time in my life. I let her go. I'm not sure what happened after that. I woke in the snow. Outside the station. Alone. The air was still. The sky, clear. And the hatch behind me? Gone. No sign there was ever a building there. Just ice. And silence. I walked for 6 miles before the rescue drone found me. They said I was missing for 7 days. They asked about the others. I told them they were gone. That's all I could say. Because even now, as I sit in this recovery ward, pen in hand, I can feel it. The weight. The mirror. The memory. Still watching. Still waiting. And I understand why. Because someday, you'll go there too. Not to the ice. Not to the station. But to that room inside yourself. Where the guilt lives. Where the forgotten things whisper. And when you get there, if you listen very closely, you'll hear it say, "You're already inside."